first got to address what happened on Saturday, it was an awful day for everyone, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that our thoughts are with the family of the person who died on Saturday, but it must have been a very surreal experience for all of you guys involved.
Yeah, it was. I'd like to start by echoing those thoughts as well on behalf of the club and the players, and everyone that's involved in that really sad situation. That our thoughts go to all involved. It was very unusual as a player. I've never come across it in my time. You never really think something like that will happen in a game you're involved in. So when we first saw the people being waved over, you don't think of the worst immediately. And then when it happened again, a minute or two after the first incident, and we were told to leave the pitch, we thought, wow, this has turned something very serious. And you soon kind of realise there's a lot, there's a lot more to life than, I guess, just playing football. That's someone's father, brother. So it was a really sad occasion, and I credit to, I think, both sides, because I think it was handled very, very well all round.
Yeah, like you say, it's not what you expect, but everyone was so respectful, and the medical team at Yeovil reacted brilliantly, didn't they?
I was just about to say yes. Yeah, Kai Hepworth, Scott Wickens over there as well, and it was, it's hard for them to have to just see that and deal with it. There's obviously, it's not like you can just move on for something like that too quickly, and I think they huge credit to themselves, it just goes to show how important having some basic first aid and life skills are, certainly in situations like that. And they handled themselves really, really well, and very proud to have been associated with people that operate like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, moving back to the football, I guess purely from a footballing point of view, it kind of worked out pretty well. You had the game on Tuesday in the Somerset Premier Cup. I know you didn't make it on, but it was a chance for other players to get some well-needed minutes, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, competition's always going to be really high, so it's good for anyone to get either some minutes or stake a claim for a place in the league side. And I think it's pretty obvious no one here rests on any laurels. So you're always looking over your shoulder if you're playing, and if you're not, you're raring to go to try and get that match day shirt. So it was a good results, positive to progress in that cup, and obviously looking positively onto this weekend now as well.
And your strike partner was meant to be your strike partner on Saturday. Lewis Britton obviously didn't get to play the game on Saturday, but comes up with a goal, so that's really good for him, isn't it?
Yeah, really pleased for him as well. Really hard worker, keeps his head down, does the right things, and sometimes it's a bit of monkey on the back when you haven't scored, when you sign for a club. So to get a goal that early on into his Yeovil career, it will do the world a good.
And it was good opposition as well. You know better than most the challenge that Taunton present. So really good to get that victory over them.
Yeah, it's totally not a given. Really hard tie, and obviously there are hangovers from a few weeks ago for us. So it was nice to sort of get that victory as well at the same time.
And so Saturday, Scunthorpe visit Hewish Park. It's full circle from that first game up there, which feels like a lifetime ago. So much has changed for both clubs. They're struggling, but I imagine that you're going to want a point to prove here at home.
Yeah, there's definitely an element of, I wouldn't necessarily bitterness, but you don't like being beat by any team. So when that second fixture comes around, you really want to try and stick it to them. I know they're not necessarily in the best position at the moment, but that doesn't mean that Saturday is going to be an easy game. I think we go out there with respect for the opposition. It's a big side, but we are at home, and we would expect to put out a solid performance, and you go for 3 points every time.
Because the home form, particularly under Mark, has been excellent, hasn't it?
Yes, I think we're really starting to, defensively as well, we're very, very sound. It's not a given that you're going to get a clean sheet in any game, but the guys back there are doing such a fantastic job. It really gives us a solid platform, and the more we can chip in the other end to sort of ease the pressure off those guys, the better. So yeah, it'd be nice to not have to rely on clean sheets and outscore some teams, but I think our form in general really is credit to how solid our back line is.
And you mentioned it there, has that been a focus in training to try and get goals from everywhere on the pitch, not just relying on you guys up front.
Yeah, there's a real onus to try and play forward, move forward, and play some dangerous stuff without leaving yourself too exposed, so you can't just go kind of too gun-ho. But yeah, Gaffer's sides traditionally like to play good football, and that's what we're really trying to implement in time. And yeah, the more we can create opportunities, it's not a given that you'll always score them, but the more opportunities you create, percentage-wise, you like to think that you'll have more positive results than negative in the long run.
And overall, the support has been excellent at Hewish Park. I know sometimes they want to see a bit more of that forward football, but you are still only sort of 4 points away from the bottom four. You've just got to get results, haven't you?
Yeah, it's strange. Up until the weekend, I think we were 4 or 5 points off the bottom, but we're only 8 or so off the playoffs. I know you don't want to think too far ahead or anything, but it just goes to show how a little change in form can really change your outlook. So I think the Gaffer's sentiment's bang on. It's get points on the board by any way we can. For example, our last result here was a great 1-0 win, but it wasn't a pretty performance. But those are really necessary results to allow us to really get a foothold in the rest of this season to progress from.
And playing a team that's also struggling down the bottom, just to pull yourself away from those teams is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it necessarily 6 points or anything, but I think both sides are aware of how. I guess how important 3 points would be in a game like this.
And it's both of those teams, Scunthorpe and Oldham, that are in the bottom four, were relegated last season. You were obviously part of that squad in League Two with Yeovil. It just goes to show it's League 3, isn't it, the National League? Yeah,
it's. I don't think it gets the credit it deserves by the outside footballing world, but it's certainly a very tough league. Bar maybe the top 3 or 4 teams. You don't really see too many consistent runs being put together by clubs. So, any given week, a club can beat another, and ultimately we want to try and put as many of those results in our favour as possible to start climbing up this table, because people aren't really running away with it. You're never too far away from something quite successful.
And you've got such a run of games coming up, haven't you? That festive period, which is always so crazy for football clubs. It's a real opportunity to pull to that mid-table part of the National League now. Yeah,
so we've got obviously Barnet after this game, and then I believe Torquay twice. All big games, but as cliche as this will sound, we're literally focusing on Saturday, and what will be after that will be. But Saturday is our main focus.
Well, good luck, and hope it goes well for you.
Thank you so much.
Boom.
Excellent.
You've been popping a few goals in here and there. You feeling relaxed and happy now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it didn't necessarily come as naturally as one would have hoped in the first few games. But yeah, if it's not me, I like to think the team's creating more opportunities for someone to be putting the ball in the back of the net and getting those goals. But yeah, it's been nice to get a few, and I've got my targets in my mind that I'd like to reach, and each goal is a step closer to that.
When you play a team like Scunthorpe, who are obviously struggling a little bit, I mean, do you as a player study their players and what they've been doing and any traits they might have?
I mean, I guess you always give the opposition respects, and you like to do an element of due diligence. And again, falling back to classic football cliches, but you do focus more on yourself than you do on the opposition. As long as you're aware of what's coming your way, I think you can sometimes get too absorbed by the opposition. So there's having a balance between understanding what their strengths and weaknesses are, and then focusing on how you implement your personal strengths and weaknesses to best exploit theirs.
Got a difficult game after that against Barnet. And then, before you know what, we're Christmas time. What's your take on Christmas as a player? Do you look forward to it? Do you find it a pain? How do you work it?
No, I love it. The more games that come thick and fast, the better, personally. And maybe different for a manager or something that might want to protect his squad, but as and injuries and so on. But I love the idea of playing. Those are games where you get traditionally your bigger crowds often play this size, Derby's games to size geographically closest to, which we will be doing, and it's a springboard. You could suddenly be, sort of 12 points in the space of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously it could go the other way, but you kind of focus on what could be, and it's a really good chance to really start making way up the table for us.
Well, as you said earlier, the fact that there was 8 points, I think you said before, between us and the playoff places. I mean, you could get 8 points quite easily if things go well over the Christmas period, and suddenly your wishes come true. New Year's Eve, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that point margin has since increased a little bit, but obviously with our game on the weekend not being completed. But yeah, it's a good time of year. Hopefully the weather holds off to allow them to be played, because as much as I do like a quick turnaround of games, you don't want it to be too congested, which it could get in the second half of the year. So yeah, fingers crossed these will go ahead, and we're all really raring to go.
And how much discipline is involved when your wife serves up a brilliant, great turkey dinner? Do you have to really hold back?
Yeah, I'm fortunate sometimes that I don't have to worry about the weight too much, but I'll always be careful if it's the day before a game what you eat. I like to think sort of 80-85% of the week, if you eat right, you can afford the odd indulgence here and there. But football, when you're a player, your sacrifices to the game, it's not a sacrifice, but your life is football, and all that can come afterwards. So yeah, full focus is on doing it right.